If you've ever heard your wife say you're emotionally unavailable and your first thought was, what the heck does that even mean? You're not alone. I get this from so many of the men I work with, and I've been there myself too. Maybe you're also thinking, what exactly does she want me to feel? And what is she hoping I'll say? And you probably consider yourself to be a steady, even-keeled type of guy. No big highs or lows. You're the guy who gets things done, who keeps it together, who stays calm under pressure. So when your wife says she wants more from you emotionally, it can feel like she's asking you to become someone you're not. But here's what she's actually asking for: to connect with you, to feel you, to stop having to guess what's going on inside of you. She wants intimacy, depth. And I know what you might want to say in response. Well, I don't feel things the way she does, or I wasn't raised to talk about emotions. In fact, you were probably taught directly or indirectly that showing emotion wasn't what men do, that the strong thing to do was keep it together, to handle it. So now, when she says she wants more from you emotionally, it feels confusing and uncomfortable because nobody ever taught you how to do that. So let me be clear. You don't need to become a totally different man. You don't need to write poetry or cry on cue. But if you want to be a better husband to the woman who wants to know you more deeply, you have to know yourself more deeply. And you have to learn how to let her in, even just a little to start. That's what this episode is about. And listen, this isn't theory for me. I've been in your shoes. I've struggled and sometimes still struggle to feel and share what's going on inside. It's not how I was raised. It's not what I did growing up, but I've put in the reps, I've learned the skill, and it's changed everything in my marriage. So I'm here to help you do the same. All I'm saying is give it a shot. This one small step could be the thing that saves your marriage. And if you want even more help with this, I've created a free 5-day challenge just for men like you. It's called From Shutdown to Show Up, and I'll tell you more about it later in the episode. But first, let's talk about what it actually means to show up emotionally, even when you've never thought of yourself as an emotional guy. Stick with me. Let's get started. Welcome to Better Husband, the podcast that helps you answer the question, how can I be a better husband? I'm Angelo Santiago, a men's marriage and relationship coach, and every week I bring you practical insights to help you strengthen your marriage and become the best husband you can be. Now, I remember the first time my wife told me I was emotionally unavailable. My first thought was, what does that even mean? I wasn't yelling. I wasn't even mad. I was fine, but I was also checked out. She was trying to connect gently, kindly, and I gave her short answers. A nod here, a shrug, a half-hearted, I don't know. I was looking for the exit, not physically, but emotionally. I just wanted the moment to pass so we could move on and get back to what I called normal. I thought I was being steady. I thought I was keeping the peace. She felt completely alone. And here's the thing. She wasn't wrong. Because I wasn't offering anything real. I wasn't letting her in. I wasn't naming what I felt or even noticing what I felt. I was just not there. And that emotional absence, it hurt her. Because in the moment she was reaching for me, I disappeared. And if I'm being honest with you, it wasn't because I didn't want to be close to her. It was because I didn't know how. Nobody taught me that presence could look like sharing a feeling. Nobody taught me that strength could include vulnerability, or that letting someone in was part of being a strong man. I thought I was doing the right thing by staying calm, not getting reactive, but I wasn't staying calm. I was avoiding connection, and that left her alone in the moment. I had to learn that I'm fine isn't the same as being available, and that silence, when it comes from avoidance, can feel just as painful as criticism. What I know now is this. My wife didn't need me to be the strong, stoic man in that moment. She needed to feel me, to know I was present and reachable, even if I didn't have all the right words. She just needed to know that I actually understood what I was feeling and that I was with her and that I wasn't hiding. But back then, I didn't know how to give that. I hadn't built the skill, and that was the work I had to begin. So let's get this clear. What does it actually mean to be emotionally available? When she says you're emotionally unavailable, she's not attacking you. She's saying, I can't feel you. She's trying to connect with you, but it feels like she's running into a wall. You're in the room, but it's like you're 1,000 miles away. She doesn't know what's happening inside of you. And that not knowing, that emotional distance is what hurts. And here's the tricky part. You might think you're doing a good job by staying calm, by not getting defensive, by keeping your tone neutral. But to her, it feels like you're shutting her out, like you've disappeared, even if your body's still there. And she's not asking you to be dramatic. She's not asking you to cry or spill your guts. She's not asking you to become someone else. She's not trying to crack you open or make you feel things you don't feel. She just wants to know, are you in there with her? Do you care enough to let her see what's really going on? Can you stop hiding behind "I'm fine" and offer her something honest? Because when you don't, when you go quiet or disappear or shut down, she's left doing the emotional labor for both of you. And that's what starts to break the connection. Emotional availability is all about letting her feel that you're in here with her, that you're not hiding, that she's not the only one in the relationship trying to feel something. And here's the good news. You don't have to be a hyper-emotional guy to be a connected husband. You don't need to feel deeply about everything. You don't need to change your personality, but you do need to understand just enough of what's going on inside of you without checking out or numbing out or bottling it up. And you need to let her in. That's it. You need to show her what's happening inside of you, even if it's simple, even if it's messy, even if all you can say is, "I don't know how to name it, but I don't feel great." That's emotional availability. It's not being overly sensitive or dramatic. It's just being able to connect to yourself and being able to name it out loud. Because when your wife says she wants connection, she's not asking you to become a different man. She's asking you to bring more of yourself to the table. And that doesn't mean you have to turn into a guy who journals every day or cries during movie trailers, although you totally can if you want to. It just means that when something's going on, stress, tension, confusion, even numbness, you don't shut down or walk away. You let her see it. You stay in it with her. Even if you fumble the words, even if you only say one sentence, even if you don't fully understand what's going on in you yet, you're showing her that you're here and that you care enough to try. That's what builds safety. That's what builds trust. That's what makes her feel like she's not in the relationship alone. So no, you don't have to be emotional about everything, but you do have to be relational. You have to bring yourself forward even when it's uncomfortable, because that's how connection grows, and that is how your marriage gets stronger. Now, most guys who struggle with emotional presence didn't choose it. We were trained into it. And that training started young. For a lot of us, even as boys, the message was clear. Emotions equal weak. Vulnerability equals dangerous. Connection, that's for women. You were told, maybe not in words, but in tone, in punishment, in silence, that the strong, successful man is the one who doesn't need anything, doesn't feel too much, doesn't get rattled. By the time we were teenagers, most of us had already buried the parts of us that wanted closeness. We learned to numb out, we got good at shutting things down, and here's the wildest part. That disconnection is often praised. You were the kid who didn't cry, the guy who stayed cool under pressure. You were called strong, mature, and responsible. But underneath that mask, there's often pain, confusion, a real desire for connection with no idea how to do it. So when your wife says she wants more from you, more presence, more honesty, more emotion, your system short circuits. You go blank, you feel criticized, or you shut down even harder. Not because you're a bad husband, but because you're running on an outdated map, one that never taught you how to get where you are now in a relationship that actually requires intimacy. Here's the part most men never see coming. Emotional disconnection doesn't just hurt your wife, it hurts you. Terry Real, the founder of Relational Life Therapy and writer of several books about this subject, calls it covert depression. The kind men don't even know they have. It looks like being emotionally flat, irritable, checked out, always busy, numb to joy, disconnected from your own body and needs. And the cause? A lifetime of disconnection from others and from yourself. Now, you were never meant to live this way. We're relational creatures. We're wired for connection. But traditional masculinity tells you to be self-reliant at all costs, to never reach out, to never admit when you're in pain. And over time, that stoicism becomes isolation. That strength becomes silence, and that independence becomes invisibility. You don't talk, you don't feel, you don't ask for help. And your marriage becomes the collateral damage. If any man wants to connect more, he has to feel more. Not in some deep, dramatic way, but in a real, grounded, day-to-day way. He has to notice what's going on inside of him and willing to bring that forward, even a little. That's how connection happens. That's how you stop checking out and start showing up. So how do you start? How do you begin to undo decades of conditioning without overwhelming yourself or your relationship? Well, as with anything, you start small, simple, consistent, present in your body, not just in your head. Most men live from the neck up, thinking, fixing, problem solving. But emotional connection isn't about logic, it's about presence. It's about feeling what's actually happening as it's happening and staying with it, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. If you're starting to see yourself in this and you want to do something about it, but you're not sure where to start, and this is where I put something together that's simple and can help you. It's a free 5-day challenge called From Shutdown to Show Up. And when you join the challenge, you'll receive a short email each day where I'll guide you through one small doable practice to help you show up more connected, even if you've never seen that modeled before. You don't have to figure this out alone. I created this to walk you through the steps to get you started. And you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to start. Now you can go and sign up at shutdowntoshowup.com or click the link in the show notes. So here's a small introduction of what the emails will guide you through. It's a simple 3-step practice you can do today. So let's get into it. First, you name one feeling, not 5, not a full emotional report, just one. Most men only learn 2 emotional states, fine and pissed. But there's a whole world in between those. Here's your starter set. Mad, sad, glad, afraid. Even if you're not totally sure, take a guess. Slow down. Scan your body, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Mad, sad, glad, afraid. If you've spent years ignoring your inner world, this will feel strange. Good. That means you're waking up something. Now, second, you don't need a deep conversation. You don't need perfect words. You just need something honest to come out of your mouth. I want you to say it out loud. Something like, I feel off today, or I'm a little anxious, or I'm kind of numb right now, or I don't even know what I'm feeling, but I'm trying to stay in it. And that's enough. Because every time you say something real, you're rewiring your nervous system. You're proving to yourself that you can be present and safe. You're showing her that you're willing to let her in. Now, third, I want you to stay. This is the hardest part for most men. Don't fix it, don't change it, don't flee, don't shut down, just stay. When you name a feeling and say it out loud, your system will want to escape. You'll want to change the subject, lighten the mood, get defensive, or shut the moment down. But don't. Take a breath, feel your feet on the ground, stay in the discomfort for just 30 seconds longer than you usually would. This is the moment we call standing in the fire. It's where growth happens. It's where connection happens, and it's where your marriage begins to change. That's it. 3 steps. You don't need some huge breakthrough. You don't need to figure it all out right now. You just need to show up over and over again. That's what gets you from shut down to show up. If you want to stop checking out and start showing up in your marriage this week, just try this. Notice one moment this week where you feel yourself shutting down. Could be tension in a conversation, a complaint from your wife, or even just silence. And catch that moment. Pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Don't overthink it. Just get curious. Next, speak one small truth instead of going silent. I feel frustrated. I don't know what I feel, but I want to stay here. I notice I'm pulling away. Whatever is true for you. And lastly, breathe and stay. Again, even for just 30 seconds longer than you normally would. That's the rep. And that rep leads to growth. I want to leave you with a couple reflection questions to have you think on this. What kind of moments tend to make you shut down or pull away? What's one emotion you've been avoiding lately? What would it look like to stay emotionally present for 60 more seconds next time? How might your relationship shift if you let yourself be seen, even just a little? Now, to wrap this up, you don't need to become a different man. You just need to start bringing more of yourself into your marriage, even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if you don't have the right words yet. Your wife doesn't need you to be hyper emotional. She needs you to be reachable. Start there, because the more you let her in, the more you'll feel like yourself again too. Remember, if you want a simple way to keep going with this work, don't forget to sign up for the 5-day challenge from shutdown to show up at www.shutdowntoshow.com. You'll get one short email each day with a practice to help you show up more connected, more present, and more honest in your relationship. The link's in the show notes, or head to shutdowntoshow.com. I'm wishing you all the best for you and your marriage. Thanks for listening to Better Husband. I'm Angelo Santiago, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Before you go, I have a quick request. If you've ever gotten any value from the show and you want the show to continue to grow, to access bigger and more knowledgeable guests, and to keep providing you with more ways that you can be a better husband in your marriage, simply leave a rating and a review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. It only takes a few seconds, and those reviews go a long way in attracting more experts and bigger guests to the show. So if you're feeling up to it, as a favor to me, I'd love to see a rating and a review from you. Thank you so much for being a listener and all your support.